Welcome to the Unapologetic Mompreneur, the podcast for mums with an online business who are ready to take back their time, home, business, and self so they can restore the balance and thrive, both at home and at work, without feeling like they have to choose between the two. I'm your host, Sarah Dew, life and biz coach for mompreneurs. I'm also a mum, stepmom, wife, introvert, breast cancer survivor, and your mentor for making a change for the better. I've learned how to go from surviving to thriving and unapologetically create a business I love and the life I want for me and my family without worrying about what other people think. And now I'm here to help you do the same. Because being an unapologetic mompreneur doesn't mean that we're selfish or that we don't care about others. It simply means that we are not afraid to show up as our true, authentic selves, to step into our purpose, do what we know is right for ourselves and the ones we love, and take the steps we need to take to make our dream life and business a reality. Join me each week where I'll be sharing all of my best tips and strategies, plus the occasional dose of tough but gentle love to help you feel empowered, motivated, and confident to take action so that you can become the mum, wife, biz owner, and woman you know you are meant and deserve to be. So, are you ready to unapologetically create a business and life you love? Let's do this. Hey Jordan, and welcome to the Unapologetic Mompreneur podcast.
But thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Yes, me too. Really looking forward to digging in what we are going to be sharing today. And I'm going to be diving into how being good at what you do isn't enough and why positioning is what turns our talents into demand. So, something I'm really interested to hear your insights on. So, before we dive into all of the amazing stuff I know you're going to be sharing, do you want to just share a little bit about you, your family, your journey, what it is that you do, and yeah, how you got to where you are now?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I'm Jordan. I am a career marketer. So, I've been in marketing since I was little, just thinking about how ads work and all the fun stuff that comes in the marketing world. But I started my career in the ad agency world, working in big ad agencies in downtown Chicago, and then I worked in corporate marketing at Walmart for 9 years. And then I decided I had this life event happen where everything turned upside down and I really needed to redefine what success looked like. And I became a consultant. So now I help other small businesses and moms help make marketing easier and make it less cumbersome to promote their business so that they can live a better life and not be so bogged down by feeding the algorithm every day. But I'm a mom of two. I've got a 7-year-old girl and a 4-year-old boy that keep me on my toes every day. And focusing on what they're doing and how to build a life that sustains being present and being a family is really what I'm all about. So
I love that. And yeah,
yeah,
marketing is such a minefield. And for many of us, when we're not, if that's not a specialty, we don't expect when we first start out that that is something that we're going to have to do in our businesses. So yeah,
absolutely.
and definitely fighting that algorithm. I'm really feeling that one at the moment. So
I
really looking
know.
forward to what you're sharing, going to be sharing with us.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's dive in then. So what is the difference between branding, positioning, and marketing? And where do most mompreneurs do you think get stuck with all of that?
Yeah, so it's an interesting question because I think so many people talk about these terms interchangeably, right? And the way that I go about marketing is really from honing on in a brand perspective, right? So branding in general is logos, right? But understanding how a brand works in marketing is much more upstream. So it's understanding the foundations of who you are as a business owner, what your purpose is, beyond making money and who your ideal customer is so that you can serve them in the best way possible. And so the way that I think about marketing differently than brand building is really that upstream alignment of what your offer is and how you go to market with your offer or your product. And thinking about that as a core tenet when you're building, right? Versus marketing, I think traditionally, and a lot of what you hear online is thinking about marketing as the last touch, right? Like I've got everything built and now I've got to promote it. But building from a brand perspective is really about aligning everything that you do from that core central purpose of how you are meeting your customer where you're at. And so I think one of the things that small business owners have a tendency to overlook is thinking about marketing in that broader perspective and how it impacts all of the touch points of your business. And it's not just about how you can talk about it more and find more awareness, but it's really about building that brand cohesively throughout the touch points that your customers interact in with you during their journey.
Yeah, that's so true because even me, I've always thought of like do everything else first and then marketing is like the final piece. And yeah, okay,
Yeah.
now I need to share about it. Now I need to promote it. Now I need to tell everybody what I've got on offer. And actually, we need to do it so much earlier, don't we? And that's definitely
Mhm.
something that I've learned. And yeah, absolutely building it in right at the beginning and reverse engineering it and making it part of it. So yeah.
Yeah. It makes it so much easier, right? Because when you are coming from a problem with the solution oriented, then you're going to be able to find your customers and already know their pain points, right? Versus reverse engineering when you have the product and then you're like, okay, what are their problems, right? We tend to work backwards in marketing when you think about it as the last touch point versus if you are really building something for a core problem, you already have like halfway solved their issue and you're just meeting them where they're at versus trying to reverse engineer this problem that we're going to hope that they buy into.
Yeah, exactly. So, how would you say that unclear positioning holds us back, and how does getting clear on our positioning help create that consistency?
Yeah, I think positioning is something that I think people avoid a lot because there can be the point of like imposter syndrome coming in, or, if you're looking at your competitors thinking, what are they doing? You can get shiny object syndrome, right? Like, but I think one of the way to look at positioning is really looking at the market with that clear lens of how you can solve a problem differently, right? Because I think that's a lot of what people get into is the challenge of they're avoiding the positioning. They're just focusing on the expression of their brand and their marketing versus positioning really solves that problem differently than what other people are doing, right? And so coming from a corporate background, like we're always looking at competitors, right? Like like Walmart knows what Amazon's doing, knows what Target's doing, like knows what all the various companies are doing and uses that as ways to build their leverage better. And I think that's one thing that small businesses aren't doing enough is looking around, not from what everyone else is doing, I should do that, but what is everyone else doing so that I can provide a different solution, right? It's zigging when everyone else is zagging or providing a different way to solve the customer's problem.
Amazing. Oh, zigging when everyone else is zagging. I love that. I need to remember that.
Yeah.
That's really cool. And I think
Yeah.
because sometimes, like you're right, when you start looking around at what everybody else is doing, and yes, we need to see what's going on and doing the research and everything, but then that imposter syndrome does kick in, doesn't it? And then also the comparinitis of comparing yourself to everybody else as well. So I think it's a really good point about actually looking at it and how can we leverage it to make ourselves stand out.
100%. And like, I think you totally have to be of that mindset, right? Like, you have to kind of put it out of your mind that, like, they might be doing something cool because even though someone tries something new, and I get on the same page too, I'm like, someone else is trying something, I want to go do that and like get really excited to try something differently, but we don't know that it's working, right? Just because someone is putting something out there doesn't mean it's the solution. So I think when you think about positioning and looking at your competitors from that perspective, you kind of have to have the right mindset of like, we're going to analyze this from a perspective of like understanding what they're doing so I can position this differently. Not that it's I need to jump on this bandwagon too, or like, what are they doing that I'm missing and have that imposter syndrome pop in because like that's reality, right? Like it's easy to get distracted by those things.
Yeah, definitely. And I think you made a really good point there as well of it being that just because they're doing it doesn't mean that it's working and that it's right. So actually, I think that's a
Mhm.
good reality check for us sometimes of just because it is there doesn't necessarily mean that it's good for us to jump on that too. And it is something that I
100%.
share with my clients all the time with working in an aligned way. If does it feel right? Is it something that is right for you just because somebody else is doing it? Doesn't mean that you have to do it too. And I guess, do you find with your clients when you're going through that with them and working out the positioning that once they do that, it gives them that freedom to actually know I can lean into doing what is right for me?
100%. Yes. And I think that is such an important part when you're hearing the Instagram gurus say you have to be doing this a certain way, or like follow these exact frameworks and you'll get these results, because that's not reality, right? And coming from an aligned perspective is going to fulfill you so much more than if you are trying to just copy what everyone else is doing, right? And so there are certain channels that I have strategically avoided because it just doesn't light me up. Like LinkedIn, I cannot do. Like, and the more people try to push me into LinkedIn, I'm like, I'm out. Like, it is not me. And so I think if you are trying to, fit your square peg in a round hole, like it's just going to not naturally come across as you being authentic. So 100%, once you have that alignment and understand like what works for you and where you can meet your customers where you're at, lean all the way into that and come from that perspective, versus feeling like you have to follow the 1, 2, 3 steps that everyone else is doing, because it will come across as inauthentic, right? So and to your point, it gives you permission to see someone else doing something and say that's great for them. Like that is a great journey for them, but you do that, I'm gonna do me.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh my goodness, definitely. And do you find going looking at consistency side of it that then that once you've got that, it's easier for you to show up and be more consistent because everything is aligned. You've got your position in sus. You know what it is that it makes you stand out, that you can leverage, that you can zig when there's zagging.
Yes, exactly. Yes, and consistency, it allows you to be more present. And once you understand what your swim lane is, or what your channel is that you're focusing on, you can be more consistent because you have taken all of the shiny objects away, right? If you're focusing on just what matters and what's going to move the needle for you, you're taking out all of the distractions. And yes, positioning helps you understand what the problems are that you're solving from the jump. So you're not inventing new angles. You know exactly how to speak to your customers. And I think one of the things that people overthink about consistency is repeating a message too much, when in reality, people have to, hear the same thing over and over again. And I get that feedback all the time from my clients. Well, I've already told this story. And that's one of the hard things to overcome, is like, even though you've told this story, your customer has only maybe seen it once, and also like they saw it while they're scrolling and their kids yelling and like they're making, right? And so telling the same story over and over again is not a bad thing. And I think that that reality helps people with consistency as well, because they can kind of get off that hamster wheel of feeling like they're constantly coming up with newness and just repurpose what they've already done. And I think that is a huge unlock to consistency, is just giving yourself permission to repeat yourself.
Oh my goodness, yes, that is so freeing. I've spent so many years in my business thinking, right, what am I going to share today? What am I going to talk about today? I have to come up with something new. And
Yes.
actually, they need that thing. And you feel like you've said it over and over again, and then I get the comment of like, well, I still hadn't heard that from you before. And I'm like, what? I've been talking about
Yes.
it all the time. Yeah.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
and it just makes
Exactly.
content creation easier as well, doesn't it? Because, like you said, you're not on that hamster wheel, that you can just repurpose, say it a different way, but the message is clear. And I guess it helps you really then like leverage what you stand for as well, isn't it? Because the more you're repeating it, the more they're learning that's what you're about.
Yes, it helps your positioning, right? Because you have then planted this stake in the ground of what you stand for, and hearing that repeated message from you, they're going to start even subconsciously associating you with that story, right? They like look to you and say, "Oh yeah, she's the one that talks about XYZ." And it then helps, validate in their mind what you are and who you stand for. So, yeah, that repetition of the storytelling helps your positioning.
Fantastic. Amazing. And yeah, that is just so freeing knowing that you can do that, and that actually that it just suddenly makes it a whole lot easier, doesn't it? It's like that big weight off of your shoulders that like actually no,
Yeah.
I'm just going to go and reword that
Yeah.
again, and really tapping in, like you said, they get known for X, Y, and Z and what you stand for.
Right.
Amazing. So
Yeah.
how does understanding your customer at a deeper level, we've talked about like pain points and things like that, but how does
Mhm.
understanding them at a deeper level change the way that you show up and you sell and you scale?
Yeah, I think. Going back to the customer is always my number one advice. Like when you feel stuck, is go back to what the customer is experiencing. And I think that a lot of people are under using what a customer journey looks like, right? So understanding where, if you have a signature offer, what is it that they need to do before they get to you that you can help service? And then what is it after your signature offer, or whatever it is, that would be their next step. And those are very easy, low-hanging fruit for you because you already know that core customer so well that you understand what it takes to get them to work with you and what they need after. So looking at the full customer journey, I think helps you evolve your assortment of what you're offering and deliver things in a way that they're already anticipating, right? Because when you know what is next on the horizon for them, they feel like you're already in my head, you already anticipate my needs. So, like photographers, we always need a family photo for Christmas time, right? And if they are coming to you, in October, September saying, like, remember your Christmas cards, it's before mom has even thought about that, right? Before we get into the holiday chaos, like, reminder, you're going to want this. And so getting ahead of what your customers' needs are and delivering that in a way that is helpful. And so they're not like panicking last minute is such a relief and such a yes, you get me, right? Like you understand my needs and you know where they are in their cultural context and where they are throughout their life's journey. So understanding like what your customer is going through, whether it's seasonal or, going from university to first house, like understanding those different life stages can also be such an opportunity to speak to your customers in a new way.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, absolutely. And thinking about that of just like having that signature offer, but then thinking, what else can I offer them? Actually
Hmm.
knowing the customer journey and working backwards of what they need before is, and it's like, yeah, like hanging fruit, isn't it? And it gives it that lower entry level of like, okay, if she can help me with this, what else can she help me with? But then
Exactly.
also going from what they need after they've done the signature offer with you is like, how can I keep working with them so that they stay with you? Yeah. Wow. That's really
100%.
powerful. I haven't looked at it like that before.
Yeah, and repeat customers is such an opportunity, I think, for small businesses that it overlooks because just from a macro standpoint, most big businesses get 80% of their sales from 20% of their customers. And so I think small businesses are so overlooking the opportunity to continue the relationship with customers because everyone's busy, right? Especially moms. And also people are lazy, right? So if they know you, if you deliver good work, it's so much easier to stay with you than go find something new, right? And so the opportunity that you have to continue servicing clients that have worked with you or that have experienced you is such a huge unlock for small businesses, I think.
Wow, yeah, definitely. I totally agree. And I get, you're serving them even more that then they're going to start telling all their friends about you as well, aren't they? Because they're like, yeah,
Exactly, exactly. It just keeps snowballing and building you as credible and growing your exposure.
love it. Absolutely love it. So this is something I really, really want to ask you about. So why does being talented and experienced or really good at what you do automatically translate into demand? And how does that positioning bridge that gap without all of that extra hustle?
Yeah, so it's really interesting because, and a perfect segue from talking about repeat customers, because your talent is what's going to keep customers, right? Like once you have that great experience, they're going to keep coming back to you. But positioning is what is the differentiation, is that is going to make them choose you. And just because you are talented at something doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to get demand, right? Like it's not a if you build it, they will come world. And even myself going from where I come from credibility, right? Like I've got the experience of marketing, but showing up on my own as a consultant, that was something that I had to overcome. That just because I have this resume doesn't mean that I'm going to create demand for new people to decide to choose me. And so one of the things that I talk about a lot is what I call the French fry method of meeting your customer where you're at with something that's tantalizing, right? Like I have a very picky eater and he needs to eat vegetables, right? But he's not going to eat the broccoli. He's going to eat the French fry. So I have to work with him on figuring out here's your French fry and then like tiptoe into broccoli. So I'm going to start you with the French fry and I'll maybe convert you to a sweet potato and get you to broccoli eventually. And so I think about that from a positioning perspective of how can you meet your customer with a demand that they actually want, right? Because all the time, I think I have clients that come to me that they think that they need one solution figured
Mm.
out, when in reality they need something else, right? And I think especially if you are an expert in a certain field, you can look at someone and diagnose what they actually need because that's the talent that you have. But that doesn't necessarily translate into what they want. And so figuring out how to position yourself and deliver something that gives them what they want so that then you can solve what they need is really the power in how you position and how you meet your customer with that entry messaging.
Amazing. The French fry method. That's so cool. I need to remember that. It's really smart.
Yeah.
But it is true, isn't it? Is figuring it out. And yeah, so if someone's not really sure and they know that they've got the resume, they know they've got the skills that they can do it, where would you say that they start like digging into how they can use that to start figuring out their positioning and what and bridging that gap with the demand?
Yeah, so I think it's beyond understanding your customers' pain points. It's understanding what symptoms they're facing, right? Because you don't go into the hospital and say like I have some like you say I've got like my arm hurts, right? You don't say my arm is broken. And so going and understanding what your customer is directly facing right now is going to give you that clarity of how you can position yourself better. So, what is the problem that is staring them directly in the face today? What is keeping them up at night that you can help solve in the immediate and get them to that solution? So, I kind of think about that in a way, it's a little bit different than understanding your customer pain points just because it's getting really into your customer's head and seeing the problem from their perspective versus you as the doctor diagnosing what the actual problem is.
Well, that makes so much sense. And actually, when you look at it like that, suddenly it does get easier to figure out what all of the positioning is that you can do. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Wow, this is so interesting. Is there, when you're working with your clients, is there something like, do you tend to see patterns of areas where they struggle with all of this? Is there one particular area that stands out the most?
Yeah, I think the number one thing that I see my clients come to me with is they usually come and they're like, what else can I do? I'm doing this, I'm doing this, I'm doing this. And my answer is almost you're doing too much, right? Like you need to peel back and figure out what is actually moving the needle for you and what you need to be focusing on that's driving sales. And that's always like my number one MO is let's figure out what actually matters because of shiny object syndrome, because so and so just started a YouTube channel and I should too, right? Or like jump on Substack. Like let's peel it back and see what's actually working and then focus and get really good at that before we turn on to something else. But I think that goes to positioning too, because everyone thinks that it's a visibility problem and they're trying to solve like, what else can I do? How can I get in front of more people? And the problem is the more that you promote this message that isn't resonating, more doesn't matter, right? It's really getting back to the crux of how you are offering a solution to your customer differently than anyone else.
Yeah, because otherwise all that repeating and sharing it, but it's not landing, just ends up making you feel like it's totally frustrating, that it's not working, that you're failing and everything else. But
Exactly.
actually just stripping it right back and actually looking at it from the beginning side of it. Yeah. Okay, that's cool.
Right. And then pairing that with the zig and zag opportunity, right? Because I've also talked to clients that like they totally understand their customer pain points, but the way that they're addressing their customer pain points are is like everyone else in their industry, right? So it's understanding that customer need and then looking how everyone else is solving it so you can do it differently, right? Because I think that is also a huge opportunity is just how can you solve a customer problem differently than everyone else so that you don't have to shout louder? It's the working smarter, not harder, right? You're solving a solution differently, so you are going to stand out versus standing out because you're the flashiest and the loudest one out there.
Yeah, that's smarter, not harder is one of the phrases that my boy uses all the time. It's like one of
Yeah.
his favorite phrases, and he's only 15, and I'm like, yeah, kudos to you because you figured that one out already. And
Yes,
yeah,
yeah, you lean
definitely.
into that for the rest of your life.
Absolutely. But it makes it easier because then you're just looking at, and that is how you're going to stand out differently. That you're not shouting into the void, looking the same as everybody else because you are doing it differently. You're leveraging it. This has
Yeah,
been so good, so
yeah.
interesting. Before we wrap up, is there any like one final point if someone's just getting started with this or where to look at if they want to review their messaging, their positioning, how would they do it? Any like one final nugget that you would like to share with everybody?
Yeah, I think clarity and understanding who you are and how you meet the customer better than anyone else is going to give you so much going to get you results so much faster than continuing to produce volume. And it's very counterintuitive because our brains have been adjusted for these dopamine hits of quick wins, right? And these visibility vanity metrics of like followers and views. And it's really about taking a step back and going slower so you can go faster. And so I think just if you can give yourself the time to sit down and look at your business and call it CEO time or whatever it is to really look at your business and work on your business versus in your business is really going to give you that clarity to help you move faster in the long term.
Amazing. Thank you so much. So I've
Yeah.
got one question that I always like to ask all of my guests is what does being an unapologetic mompreneur mean to you? And how do you show up every day unapologetically, both as a mum and as the boss of your business?
I love this question so much because it also relates to my why, my deeper understanding of why I'm even here. I know you're a breast cancer survivor. My mom, she passed last year from pancreatic cancer, but that really flipped my mind in terms of how you live your life. And so the thing that I talk about all the time is to live life now. And so for me, being an unapologetic mom means not following status quo and re-looking at what life is really all about. My kids will ask questions of they want to go to the library or to the park or something like that, and my knee-jerk reaction is usually no, right? Because we're doing whatever, like it's not in the routine. And so I have been more intentional, more unapologetic to say yes to the things that are outside of our routine because joy matters, because we are needing to live in the now and building those memories and those moments of those little fun things and infusing joy into the everyday is so important. And so I think my unapologetic mom is really thinking about redefining what you are supposed to do and just having more fun in life.
Love that. Oh, that's amazing. Yeah. Firstly, really sorry about your mum. And yeah, I hope you guys are all
Thank
doing
you.
doing okay. And yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah, and it does, doesn't it? It's just living in the now and making those precious moments and those memories. And just because something isn't in our routine right now, then why can't we just go and do it and have fun and live in the moment? Yeah, I love that.
Yes. Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Jordan. This has been really, really good. And I need to go back and listen to it now again myself and take some notes because there's some really good nuggets there of different things that you've shared of doing it. And I'm definitely be thinking about how I can zig instead of zagging. So that's
Yes.
really well and
Yes.
truly got me. So I'm sure that everybody's going to found this really useful as well. So
Great.
if people want to check out you more, I know that you've got a free private podcast and everything else. So do you want to just share all of your links? We'll make sure they're in the show notes anyway. But just want to tell people about your private podcast and where everybody can find you.
Yes, you can find me on Instagram. I'm at Purple Sky Strategy. And my new private podcast is called Big Brand Marketing, Zero Brand Bullshit. So I break down what corporate marketing lessons I've learned and how you can apply it in your small business. So we'll have the link below.
Fantastic. Sounds amazing. Definitely go and check that out. Go and find Jordan on Instagram. Go and say hello and go and listen to her podcast. I know it's going to be fantastic. I shall definitely be tuning in to it. Thank you
Great.
so much. It's been an absolute pleasure chatting with you about this.
You
It's
as
been such a
well.
good, fun topic and so important as well, because I think it's just going to make business and marketing and everything generally so much easier for everybody. So thank you
Absolutely.
very much, Jordan.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, that's it for today. Thank you so much, everybody, for listening and tuning in and watching on YouTube if you have been as well. And I will catch you in the next episode. Bye for now. Thank you so much for joining me for another installment of the Unapologetic Mompreneur podcast. If you like what you heard, be sure to hit that subscribe button so that you never miss an episode. And if you have a moment, I would love for you to leave me a rating and a review so that other mompreneurs can find this podcast too. Here's to unapologetically becoming the mum, wife, biz owner, and woman you know you are meant and deserve to be. I can't wait to chat with you in the next episode. Bye for now.